Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back for some more EVE Online testing. So welcome back to sisi, where in today's video I am going to try to take the Vexor in a tier 2 filament. So these are now for sale on sisi, which means you don't have to keep hunting for them. You can just buy whatever you want to test. And in order to recognize these filaments, you can see on the circular parts of the icon that there are now two lit up parts. Basically that indicates it's a tier 2 filament. If you see 3 of them, it's a tier 3, etc. So we are going to take the tier 1 Vexor basically in that tier 2 and see if we can handle it. It's a Tech 1 ship, it's nothing too crazy, Tech 2 fit. I did upgrade this to augmented drones because I feel like in the end you could make that investment for just a general low tier ship if for alpha clones, for instance, if they want to try to get a bit more out of it. So let's see if we can use this, activating an exotic particle storm tier 2, and let's see what we encounter. Let's see if we can handle it. Hopefully performance is okay. Felt somewhat alright, maybe a bit of hesitation early on, so that is something that is still happening on sisi. You've got some tie-dye now and then, you've got some problems now and then. Hopefully they're more server-side related because lots of people are stressing that system rather than the other way around. And here we start with weak small damage drones. So this is still placeholder in the names, but you basically have twice as many small drones coming at you. So we are also going to drop our drones and we are going to try to lower their DPS by taking them on one by one. I'm not too much in a hurry to get too close to these guys, but they will catch up quite quickly. And that's the augmented hobgoblins. What's the minus 50% kinetic resistance and 50% scan bonus? That doesn't do all that much. Oof. That's 2 volleys to get my shields down. So if you want to do a bit of manual flying, perhaps I should try to micro-up drive out of their range a little bit. Let's see if that works while we rep. The biggest problem that I've encountered here so far is that my cap isn't strong enough now, and I'm definitely not pulling away from these guys. That's just not happening. They are too fast. So we're going to focus all damage on a single drone at a time. Just try and take him out as quickly as possible. That one will be next. All drones on that one. Target the next one. And then, yeah, just hope that you can cut down on that DPS quickly enough. Next one. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep repping. This time I do get a timer here, so I think you've got like 20 minutes. That's actually pretty important that you do see a timer there, because from time to time it just doesn't show up. Luckily they die pretty quickly, but I am a little bit concerned here again about my cap. I'll explain why in a little bit, but let's first concentrate on the task at hand. I was hoping maybe I could try to really fly away from that danger, but they're just too fast. You're not going to outrun them even with a micro-up drive, and as a result you're better off just saving your capacitor for your reps if you've got a full wave of small drones. The augmented hobgoblins are a major improvement here. They do seem to do a lot more damage to these small drones. Maybe they've got better tracking as well. So that's just that one upgrade. Grab augmented drones rather than Tech 2 drones does seem to make a pretty big difference. And now we've been able to cut down on the incoming DPS enough to feel comfortable and get through the first part here. So just a couple more, but you can see I'm bouncing up against my capacitor, which, well, to me indicates that missiles and drones with something that is less cap hungry might be the better choice. I am not personally sure about like a full passive fit, to be honest. That may actually be pretty tricky, because, you know, once it's too much DPS, then that's it. You're basically done for. There's no real way to retreat. But that's the first room actually done. So we're going to try and grab that loot. And here in the electrical storm, what does it say? Minus 50% kinetic resistance penalty. Let's see if we can somehow see that.
The capacitor is empty.
Not really. So we'll take that. We'll approach the next gates, make sure that we are somewhat okay in armor and cap before I start the second room. I don't think that I want to run out of cap right from the start. So at this point, you know, pacing yourself a little bit. First 5 minutes almost done. Do a quick reload as well. Just slow boat to the gate. This is something to keep in mind here. I'm feeling like this is going to be a big drawback of this Vexor, is the fact that I keep losing capacitor and that it's not cap stable. On top of that, I have tried another tier 2 filament. This was a dark one with this Vexor, and I was basically done in by a drifter battleship and 3 webbing drifters. Although I think that there is a way to handle it. I just have to figure it out a little bit better to get under the guns of the battleship. So I think you can do that one, but you can already tell, I think, that this is a lot trickier than previously in the tier 1. So here, that's a bit unfortunate that it's the same thing again. And so now we have learned our lesson from the previous room. So we are just going to mostly save our cap for the incoming damage. Send all my drones on a single enemy drone and hope that we can basically blast these guys away quickly enough. See if my guns can do any damage on the second one. Not at this range just yet. All drones on him then, please. And we're just going to continue to slow boat there, and there comes the damage, of course. Add a bit of webbing. And start repping, of course. With most drones here. Oh, small logistics drones at 19 kilometers. That's gonna be interesting. But I seem to be doing enough damage. So that one is down. You are next. Small logistics drones. Can we take a look at them? See, they're not too active, so it does look like those are not too important at this point in the fight. On the other hand, what you probably don't want to risk too much then is to really spread your DPS out across the different drones. Then these logistics drones might actually become a bit of a problem. So back to my ship. Again, we are dealing with those cap problems here, as I'm slowly running out, but go like that. We are again cutting down on the incoming DPS quickly enough to be able to handle this. So you are next, and I will just start approaching the loot drops. I think we can hold off on even more repping at this point. But must be said, it's gonna be a bit more challenging. Still feels doable. And I think if you come up against like the wrong combination, you might be in trouble in just a Tech 1 ship that is not too built for these abyssal dead space pockets, or with alpha skills. Yeah, it might not be that easy. So next up, we're gonna go after these logistics drones. Yeah, they die very quickly as well, so that's not a problem. Take on the final one, grab the loot. One quick rep to make sure that I'm at 100%. And we still have plenty of time though. Time-wise, this is not a problem to try to get to the next room here. So again, I'm gonna do a reload. Hold on a little bit to get some more capacitor. So you could save more cap by taking out the reactive armor hardener. Not that it matters that much, I don't think. And then you might want to use just one quick burst of the micro warp drive to speed things along a little bit more. Another gambling site, but not a lot of filaments here so far. Of course, they are available on the market at this point, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. A little bit of shields back, and my capacitor is coming back decently quickly. So, final room. Let's see what we are served there. And as I've said, previous experience, first room, drifter battleship, and 3 webbing drifter cruisers. And because I kept focusing on the cruisers first, I was constantly in optimal range for the battleship. And eventually, because of my capacitor problems, it did me in. If you do the exact opposite, you can escape from those cruisers with your micro drive, get under the guns early enough, then I think you can still handle it. But just like with this one, you want to be a little bit more careful. You want to, for instance, here now, save your cap at first. Don't use your micro drive if you don't have to. And try to take out that incoming DPS. All of these are DPS this time, before they do too much damage and before you run out of cap, which is unfortunate. So I'm again here tempted to say that fully cap stable might be a much better option, and something to consider as a baseline to strive for. Although you might come up against something that nukes you a lot, so it's tricky. It's gonna be tricky to find the right ships for all the different tiers and all the different filaments, I think. But you can clearly see that even these small rogue drones, if kept unchecked, would slowly break my tank, would end up stressing my capacitor too much. This time I don't see any repping drones, so we could potentially spread out the DPS. But I don't want to do that. I actually want to get rid of as much DPS as quickly as possible, so focus on one target at a time, even if it means that you overshoot by a couple volleys here and there. When they're gone, they're gone. That's less stress on your tank. So it is working quite well. The small guns are tracking these quite easily, and we won't have any problems in this tier 2 filament. But who knows what else lurks out there in the abyssal dead space. This all looks pretty cool as well. And if I'm not mistaken, some of these clouds, it's something that I encountered previously, have extra effects. So I might actually want to fly through it just to confirm that. DPS should be low enough, so we are going to risk this. Just go all out, and yeah, we've got plenty of buffer at this point, so that won't be a problem. All on that guy. Scan resolution bonus. And you can clearly see here an environmental effect. Let's go like that. That's happening. And if I fly through it, I think you get a secondary effect happening. So let's see what happens after we take care of these drones. So that one, then that one. We also have to take care of the facility. Quick rep. They are back in range. Blap is down as well. You can go after that. And then we are going to micro drive through here. Well, I see two different ones, so we're gonna try to confirm this. Let's go. Try to fly through the red stuff first of all. So I'm not noticing anything from this effect. Let's see if we can notice anything from this part, and then we'll just fly through. So this doesn't seem to be doing anything, which is a little weird. Let's see if these vapors do anything. So be warned, here I don't see any active effect. Ooh, we are very close to the barrier, so we're actually going to try to bounce away from that. Ooh. And I'm actually at high speed. All of that testing is going to stress my ship. Okay, so this does not look like another AoE effect, but I've encountered it, so just know that it exists as well. It was quite punishing, actually. I think it really lowered my resistances by quite a lot. That's something that I'll have to figure out, maybe try to recognize a bit better, but I thought it looked a lot like a cloud like this. So a bit more testing in the pipeline. In the meantime, we're going to grab our final loot, and then with 5-6 minutes to spare, we are going to finish a tier 2 filament with the tick 1 Vexor, with the one caveat that I don't feel too good.
The capacitor is
Fierce dark filament, and that's a tree. You can see from the the 3 icons there. And can you turn back there? You can see that from the 3 lights on the spherical part of the icon that this is a tier 3. So very nice drop, of course. That means that at some point I can try that tier 3 as well. So let's grab the loot and then head for the gate. We are out of here. Test successful, and this confirms that yes, you can do the tier 2 filament in a Tech 1 ship, but it's gonna be a bit more risky, and it's gonna take some knowledge and flying, maybe a bit of effort in order to get through that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time.
Warp drive active.